Welcome to the first episode of Talking Cobblers About Wrestling, filmed and recorded at Together Studios. I'm Mac, and this is my partner.
Hi, Marshall.
Right. Today we are going to talk about 2020's matches of the year. Thing is, these matches aren't necessarily the best matches of the year. Especially the WWE ones, which is very hard to judge because they have a very certain style, shall we say. There are better matches out there, but I think these are the ones that probably deserve the mention. But then when we get towards the top end of the list, they're the proper bangers.
Yeah, so the way we did it, you picked the 5 WWE matches you thought needed to be showcased, and yes. I picked the 5 from the rest of the wrestling world, and we put them in some sort of order. But as Max said, by the time we get to the top of the list, we'll be towards what really were the best matches this year. So,
because as a year though, it's been quite hard to judge because wrestling isn't wrestling.
Well, it spent a long portion of this year with no fans in arenas.
Essentially, only 2 or 3 companies running.
Yeah. I mean, fans are starting to come back now, but it's still weird.
Yeah. And
as we'll see later in this episode, there's one company that has a rule where the fans are allowed back in the arena, but they're not allowed to cheer.
Yeah.
So
very, very strange. It's a shame we can't show just the whole audio of that. But we get to it. It is very strange reactions. Incredibly weird.
Yeah, so
but not as weird as having a load of fans on the television screen and trying to call it the Thunderdome.
Yeah. So 2020 is a weird year.
Weird all round. But at least they didn't stop.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had absolutely nothing. So fair play to him. But as I think this list will bear out, wrestling is a far better spectator sport. With fans. So a lot of these matches are from shows that do have fans.
I do think when we get towards the top, I think some of them benefit from not having fans. But we'll talk about that when we get to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, we'll kick off with the number 10 choice. The number 10 choice is probably a bit of a weird one because as a match, as an actual wrestling contest, it's no more than 2 stars, maybe 3 at a push.
Yeah.
At a push, but as a storytelling piece of art, it's imperative to where a character's gone. That match came from WWE Clash of Champions, and it was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Now, before people start hating on me for picking Roman Reigns, he's great. I don't care what you say. He's a great heel. He's always been a good wrestler, but he's a great heel.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think Roman Reigns has come on leaps and bounds as a character this year, second half of this year since he came back. So I can't argue with that. And I can't argue with the fact that this definitely is the lowest quality in-ring wrestling match from this list.
Yeah, without a doubt. There are some important things though, because I think as a match, it cemented Reigns as, I think, again, if you disagree, I don't care. Roman Reigns is the top heel in wrestling, I think.
Oh, he's definitely the top heel in WWE, sure.
I think in wrestling, he's a great natural heel. It was important because it was Jey Uso getting his first title shot.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, that seemed like a really odd choice. Especially with the people that they have on that SmackDown roster. Owens, Styles. Well, Styles on Raw now, I guess. Daniel Bryan, yeah.
Even like Sami Zayn or something.
Yeah, there's plenty of options, and it did seem weird that Jey Uso was the one that got the title shot, but
it made sense. For WWE, that was the closest they get to long-term booking and sticking with it. They didn't just abandon it, and it made sense. I think it's got Paul Heyman's fingerprints all over it, personally.
I think Reigns is benefiting substantially from the partnership with Paul Heyman.
In this match, Paul Heyman was very rarely on camera, but when he was, he added to it. He didn't distract from it because he gave, I don't know if you remember the bit where he was shouting at ringside saying, "You are the tribal chief."
Yeah.
Reigns looked at him and went, "I don't want to hear that from you."
Yeah. There is a thing with Heyman. Heyman's of that old school manager mentality where everything he does is to put over the match itself.
Yeah.
Never to take away from the match, and Heyman's great at that, and Reigns feeds off that wonderfully.
Yeah,
so
that's it. They're a great partnership. Again, as a match, highlights. It was a pretty standard match. I think there was a nice bit where Jey Uso got some offense in. Reigns went for a spear, he reversed it into a roll up. Then he went for his splash. Well,
yeah, here's the thing with this match. It is a lot of Reigns beating down Uso because that's the story they were telling.
Yeah.
That's the story they were telling, and the work in ring was all to benefit
the story.
The story that they were telling with Reigns, and I suppose Uso to a lesser extent, but it worked because it was Uso.
It went on with Uso. It went on to develop to Hell in a Cell, where the story continued, and then it continued that was where he broke him.
Yeah,
and that was all it was breaking him and getting that tribal chief admittance. And bringing Jimmy into it to throw in the towel. Great finish. I liked that finish.
Yeah, I think the Reigns match with McIntyre is a better match, but that is brought down substantially by the fact that end is the finish is terrible.
Up until the finish, it's great. Reigns could have beaten McIntyre clean, and it wouldn't have hurt McIntyre at all.
No,
it wouldn't.
It's a weird situation. I can understand why some people might think that this is a bit melodramatic, because they do. Reigns does oversell some stuff, but I think it actually works for his character.
Yeah, possibly.
But I can understand that some people are going to be like.
See, I think the whole development of Reigns, the whole story behind it, how he's changed his promo style. He's very calm. He's very calculated.
Yeah, but he needs to be. That's the character that they need to portray for him.
I think also as a person, even though he looks like quite a nice chap, he's really quite easy to hate.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Fans wanted.
He's a bit like discount Jason Momoa, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that. But yeah, no, I like Reigns. I like where they're going with this character. I like this match. I did think it was a really good match from a storytelling point of view, which WWE gets right so rarely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. The major downside, which might come up again, is Michael Cole is the worst commentator ever in wrestling.
I did mention this in a later match that's going to come up, but yeah, in this one, man, he reels off stock catchphrases over and over and over again, and none of them are good.
No.
Like, the commentator is just supposed to facilitate a match going forward, help you with the overall experience, but Michael Cole constantly takes me away.
Yeah, because he
constantly takes me away from what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't need that.
No. There's matches later on in the list where the commentators are actually brilliant and invest you into it, and you don't need to have seen things. Michael Cole, even when he's recapping or trying to get the history, I mean, with this match in particular, Jey Uso had just had his documentary on the network, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So they had all this already raw emotion and actual family history. Michael Cole managed to make it sound like contrived nonsense. And
he makes everything sound like... But yeah, Michael Cole makes everything sound like Vince McMahon is literally telling him what to say down his ear.
Yeah.
When I know that is actually what's happening, but
people should stop listening.
Yeah, other people manage to make their commentary sound natural.
Yeah, and he doesn't. Yeah, absolutely.
He just doesn't. He really doesn't. He makes everything he commentates on slightly worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But what's good, like we said, from this match, what's good is the story. The story is great. The interaction between them. Well, you could hear the promos. There was one bit where he picked Jay's head up and made him look at the camera and wanted him to say it down the camera. Brilliant. That was brilliant heel work.
Yeah, no, I think overall this is deserving of its 10th spot on that reason alone.
I think this is one of the matches as well that actually benefited from just the TV screen crowd.
Yeah.
You could hear. They didn't need to shout.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right about that actually. And I think the other WWE match that could have been put here was probably the AJ Styles, Sami Zayn Jeff Hardy ladder match.
There's a few that are actually better matches. That one is definitely one. That one probably would have finished higher than 10th, that ladder match.
I think it's a really good match.
Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles on SmackDown, really good match.
Yeah, that match was butchered by advert breaks. So they put on a 30+ minute match on SmackDown. It's really good. But advert breaks hurt that.
The reason I selected this is purely to give Reigns his credit for storytelling play.
Right, so number 9 on this list, we've got Sasha Banks versus Bayley from Hell in a Cell. So, once again, Michael Cole turns up immediately in this match and screams, "Boss of the Cell," just to annoy me before the match.
I think he said that about another 25 times during it. She's the boss of the cell. Yeah, we get it, all right. We get it. He could have just said, I mean, Sasha Banks, to her credit, there have been 3 women's Hell in a Cell matches and she'd been in them all.
Yeah,
and
no.
She 1 and 2. No, didn't she lose to... She lost to Charlotte and she lost to Becky Lynch. And now she's beaten Bayley.
Yeah. So, 1 and 2. It's not the most boss-like record.
I think, again, there is some... There are better matches. I think better matches that these two have had.
In the past, sure.
I think this...
The Iron Woman match is far better.
Miles better. And I think there's better women matches. I mean, I think would be amiss not to mention the NXT women's roster.
Has been absolutely outstanding this year.
Constantly produced all
year.
It's
the best female roster of any company at the moment, the NXT women's roster.
And that's including like Stardom and things.
Yeah, including everybody. Every company.
I think, and the women just constantly deliver. Io Shirai has been amazing this year. Rhea Ripley, I think, has had a really big year because the thing with Ripley was I don't think she was the best in ring. She had this amazing look because she's giant, but in ring, I think she was a bit clunky.
Yeah, certainly during the Mae Young Classic, when she was in the Mae Young Classic, the first Mae Young Classic, and I thought...
And people criticised her working with Charlotte, and I think Charlotte Flair, whatever people say, people hate her because she's great, and she is a great worker.
I think she is.
And I think Ripley benefited. Whether it was the right decision to take the title off her, that's up for discussion.
I understand why they did with NXT going to the USA Network and they wanted eyes on the network. I understand why they did it. I don't think it was the correct choice. No. Having Ripley win at Mania would have meant a lot, even at this Mania, I guess, where there's no fans there. But this match.
Yeah, back to this match.
this match is a perfect example of why the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view shouldn't exist. Yeah. Because the Hell in a Cell match is supposed to be a match that ends a blood feud, basically, which is exactly what this was. So you could have put this in the Hell in a Cell on any pay-per-view and sold it via that.
Yeah.
When you have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view every year, same place every year, you do kind of feel like you're forcing matches into the cell.
Absolutely.
And,
I think the same about pretty much every gimmicked. You've got War Games. I mean, I love a War Games match.
I love a War Games match. I mean, this isn't real War Games necessarily, but I love it anyway.
Ladder matches. I actually want to see 2 ladder matches next year, and that's it. I don't think they need any more TLC. There's TLC coming up, isn't there?
It's Sunday.
Oh. They've taken a great gimmick, which was great at WrestleMania when Edge, Christian, the Hardys and the Dudleys did it, and they could have just sprinkled it about, but now it means nothing. I think we were talking the other day, and the only one that means something is Elimination Chamber, because that gets you something. Either a title shot or you're competing for a title. Yeah,
it works as part of the build-up, the road to WrestleMania.
And plus, I was thinking about it, the Elimination Chamber, although it's a gimmick match, obviously, it's a kind of gimmick match. It's got legs.
I get what you say. You don't need a storyline to be forced upon it. Because you got 6 people in the Elimination Chamber, so it works.
Yeah. But you were saying about this match.
Yeah, I mean, this is a match that would deserve to be in a Hell in a Cell, regardless of whether it was a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view or not. Yeah. And it would have felt more important if it had been built naturally to a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Rather than being forced upon us as a Hell in a Cell.
At the Hell in a Cell
pay-per-view, where there's other Hell in a Cell matches.
That's what I mean. They've taken the gimmick, which was great, and I now don't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't.
None of the matches ever.
None of them have topped the first two.
Well,
none of them, in my opinion, for stunts and Michael.
I think there's one before the Mankind Undertaker on Raw. I think there's a random tag match.
No, that happened.
Is that after?
That's after.
After.
Yeah, just after. It's the Raw after because Foley's still out of it.
Yeah.
And they have a random Austin, but they didn't really count. But,
No.
But then after, if you look at the matches after Mankind, where you got the 6-pack at Armageddon.
That's good.
That's
good
good.
match.
But that carried on the tradition of someone coming off the top.
Yeah,
but
Vince McMahon driving a weird truck.
No, it's Foley, wasn't it? He drove a truck down to pull the cell down.
It's Vince McMahon comes down to pull the truck down because Vince McMahon the entire show is saying this is way too dangerous. I'm not having a Hell in a Cell on my show, and then he brings the truck down with Patterson and Briscoe.
Taker committed murder, didn't he? Wonder Boss Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hell in a Cell. I think if you wheeled them out once a year, or even like
once every 18 months,
yeah,
something like that. I think it is
as a blow off. You don't need the special pay per view. But anyway.
Yeah, this is the best women's WWE match of the year, though, for me.
Main roster.
Yeah, main roster.
Yeah,
and NXT for that matter, because there might be better actual wrestling matches on. I mean, Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai had a really good match on the. I don't remember what episode of NXT it was, but what? Yeah,
2-3 weeks. Well, from time of recording, about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, they had a really good match, and there's. The triple threat, Io Shirai, Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, that's really good, really deserves a mention. But this one has the story going in. Bayley is great.
Bayley's a great heel.
Yeah.
She's like Reigns, I think she's come out of her shell since she's been a heel.
Yeah, Bayley is great, especially in this match, and it works perfectly with Sasha. Sasha takes some daft bumps in this.
Yeah, she does.
That drop toe hold onto the steel steps through the kendo sticks, she takes way too hard.
Yeah.
She hits it really
But Sasha also goes for some, because she does that Meteora double knees, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And the one that sticks in mind where she runs and jumps up a table to do it, and then she hits that double knees in different places.
Yeah, she hits one off a ladder, one in the corner of the cell.
No wonder she's so injured.
Yeah.
I did enjoy. There were some little touches that I enjoyed in this one as well. Bayley biting Sasha Banks to get out the bank statement early
good.
on. That was good. But it's a fun match.
Yeah, I liked it as an overall spectacle. I liked it. There's a couple of things I think we'd be remiss not to mention that Bayley tried to set up two kendo sticks by taping them together.
DIY is not that lady's strong point.
No, it is not,
all.
and it went absolutely nowhere.
Yeah. And then you've got.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think she brushed that off brilliantly.
Yeah, Sasha Banks seemed to notice as well because she immediately hits her with the fire extinguisher and they carry on playing off like it was it wasn't a thing.
When I first watched this match, I thought that was smooth. There was some smooth transitions, but again, as we go on in the list with some other matches, they prove there's just some little tiny things. There's a spot where Sasha Banks does a sunset flip over the top and then powerbombs Bayley.
Yeah.
And she does the sunset flip and lands, and there's that brief pause where she's just holding her like that. It's only a couple of seconds.
It's a very, very WWE sunset flip bomb.
Yeah, but then it's that pause, and when you see other people doing it, and it's just smooth. It's that little bit of a pause that you think, can't you do that? But then saying that, Bayley does a sunset flip bomb, and is it Bayley? Yeah, Bayley does it, doesn't she, onto Banks?
Oh, and she hits the chair straight into it.
Christ, did she hit that chair off?
Yeah, Banks bumps like a trooper in
Yeah.
this. I mean, she bumps crazily.
Yeah, she does.
Anyway.
It's insane. I think Banks has been an underutilised talent. And I like her character because her character now she's that kind of tweener. Because she's out in interviews saying, I want to win this, I want to win that, I am the best.
Well, I think she's going to get used prominently now. She's been in The Mandalorian. Well, I'm not going to get dragged into The Mandalorian because else I'll just be talking about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, let's not talk about The Mandalorian.
I love it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's brilliant. You don't like Star Wars.
No, Star Wars is rubbish.
But yeah.
You just see, I'm setting myself up as the biggest heel on the show here.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's in that, so she's starring in things.
Yeah, she is a star. She should come out of this feud with Carmella.
No, I don't. I do not care about that.
No.
Like,
but who are on the SmackDown roster again? They seem to ignore the women a bit.
yeah, I mean, who else is on that?
Bianca Belair, and she isn't ready for that spot yet.
No, I don't think so either.
I think
she's very athletic.
Oh, she's incredible. She's got a massive upside.
Yeah,
but she should have still been on NXT.
But probably for longer. Yeah.
I think natural challenger to Io Shirai.
Yeah.
Because I think Shirai is ready for the main roster. Because I think she's incredible.
I think she's probably going to lose that women's title, the NXT women's title, to Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's well. At least I think that's the next logical challenger. I mean, she beat her in War Games, pinned her in War Games.
Tony Storm's in the middle as well. She's
Tony Storm's in there, Ember Moon's in there. There's plenty of people in there.
But Shirai is definitely ready.
I mean, you could call up Rhea Ripley.
Ripley is going to be called up. She'll go Raw.
Who do you think?
Yeah, she'll go Raw. I think Shirai will go SmackDown because I think Shirai Banks is just a mouth-watering.
Yeah, I think that could be an excellent match.
But then again, Ripley to Raw because Oscar needs somebody because Baszler. For some reason, they don't seem to rate Baszler on the main roster.
I mean, putting her with Nia Jax in the tag team is a humongous waste.
Yeah.
It's a humongous waste of Baszler and it's a humongous waste of Asuka.
Yeah.
Putting them in a feud with Lana and Nia Jax.
It's woeful.
Nia Jax is terrible.
But then that's just Raw, isn't it?
Oh, Raw is awful. I mean, we could literally be talking about how bad Raw is forever, so I'm once again not going to get into that. Historically low numbers tell you everything you need to know about that. So, yeah, it is. Raw's awful.
I think one of the best things about this match as well, which is why I selected it, that was a great story. The Banks Bailey, it was a slow build. They didn't rush it. There was little nuances that they did, little glances while they were talking.
There were times in this feud where I think they could have pulled the trigger earlier.
Yeah, and they didn't.
And they could have pulled. If they'd have pulled the trigger earlier, maybe they'd have had this match would have benefited from fans.
Yes,
this match really would have benefited.
It would have hidden the little bits like that Sunset Flip bomb. I probably wouldn't have noticed the pause because the fans would have popped for that.
Yeah.
And the fans would have popped for different bits where I thought.
Yeah, this match really would. Of most matches on this would have benefited from fans.
Well, absolutely, because they would have popped big. But I did really like the finish because it was actually It was a throwback, wasn't it? To not only their Iron Woman match where where Bailey did the stomps on Banks.
Yeah.
For the finish, so there was that throwback. She put her in the chair, which was a throwback to Banks.
Yeah,
it was just. It was just a whole great story.
The storytelling was good, and the wrestling was good. The bumps were good. I really did like this one.
Yeah,
it's it probably is 9th though.
On this list.
When you get to what comes after this, I would say.
Definitely. I think the problem is, and I mean I'm saying this, and he will back me up that I am a massive WWE mark. I love it. But you couldn't fill a list with WWE matches, I think.
Most years you couldn't fill a list with the WWE matches.
I don't know. 2018, they were NXT takeovers.
Yeah, I suppose you could fill a match with NXT matches. You could fill a list with NXT. Yeah, it's still under that umbrella. And as you will find out, NXT gets the NXT, the two NXT brands.
Yeah. So.
Let's move on, shall we?
I'm going to let Marsh introduce the next one.
Right, we'll move on to the list. Number 8 is Mayu Iwatani versus Takumi Iroha from the Stardom show, The Way to Major League.
The Way to Major, what a name.
Yeah, tremendous name. I think this is the best women's match this year.
I won't disagree. I think it was... I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. Stardom is a company that puts on... Well, it's an all-female company, in case people don't know that. They do put on... It's the same company that Io Shirai came from, Kairi Sane came from, Asuka.
Yeah.
So they do have a history of producing top-level talent. I think Iwatani is the best talent there at the moment.
Yeah.
Aroa doesn't actually work for Stardom. She was brought in as a last-minute replacement for this match. So fair play to them.
Yeah,
but they put on a match of this quality.
They did put. It was a really, really good match. There was some.
I would say the one thing you will notice when you watch Stardom over WWE Women's Wrestling, certainly a lot of the main roster WWE, is how much smoother the work in Stardom is.
Yeah, there was some. Some of the spots in this one were just seamless.
Yeah.
There's a powerbomb spot. Which one does the power? Is it?
Aroa.
Aroa. She does this powerbomb and then straight back up into a last ride, and it was wicked. It really, really good.
Yeah, there are some. I mean, there's the stiff strikes in this that you expect to see in Japanese wrestling.
Oh, stiff strikes. Stiff strikes is just wrestling now, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it's bled into every other company.
I mean, I don't think you could ever get sick of seeing people just kick the crap out of each other. But one thing I do worry about with it, if everybody's doing strong style, then
I do get where you're coming from. It loses its edge somewhat.
And, it's like suicide dives.
Yeah.
I don't want to see another suicide dive for as long as I live, because literally everybody does them. I
assume there was one in almost every match on this list. Maybe actually every match, because even matches we get later on have got suicide dives.
Yeah, but you get them on TV as well.
They're everywhere. It's just a move.
Yeah, it's worse than the DDT.
It's just a move like the super kick or the DDT.
I would take suicide dives over John Moxley, to be fair.
Yeah, well.
But in this match, there's some nice little story to it, running through it. There's working on the shoulder, working the arm.
Yeah, it's consistent work as well.
Yeah,
Iwatani's really good. Like she's had a really good year. Basically, you can search out most of the matches she's had on any of the big Stardom shows, and you're gonna find something worth watching. It's these two have another match later on in the year after this. This is the February.
This had a crowd, which I think helped the match.
Definitely. And they have a match later on in the year. I want to say October, something like that. That's also excellent. So, and they exchange the wins.
Okay.
So they can build up because they realised after the first one, I think we got something.
Yeah,
we've got something here. We can.
Spot wise, there was another one that I wanted to mention. Well, there's a few. There's one where
Iwatani or Aroa.
Aroa.
Yeah. Is it the German suplex?
Yes.
The highest of high angle German suplex.
It's wicked. It was absolutely wicked. She ragdolls at first.
Yeah, this is the thing with Iwatani. She is small.
I should apologise for my pronunciation with the Japanese wrestlers. I'm sorry. I struggle with English.
She is small, Iwatani. Yeah. So
it was really nice.
She's got a kind of similar build to Sasha Banks, I guess.
Yeah.
So when she does take those bumps, you are like,
that's got to hurt.
Yeah, that really has got to. But she hits obviously the finish, the high angle razor's edge bomb.
Yeah,
it just looks like it's killed her.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Which is the work in it is so good. Like, and it works for a bigger, stronger wrestler, smaller, speedier wrestler.
The way that I like to see big guy or big wrestler, small wrestler is they've just got to lay it in. I always go back to like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, when he fights Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles, the reason their matches work is because they are just kicking him and they are just punching him and they're laying their stuff in, because if they don't lay it in, there is no way you can suspend that disbelief that the smaller person is going to win.
Yeah,
because they're not putting the effort in.
Yeah, you have to lay your strikes in, use your technical wrestling prowess, I guess, and work around it. This works because Aroa's not massive. She's not Nia Jax big or Aja Kong or Rhea Ripley but she is noticeably the bigger and stronger of the two.
Yeah.
So basically, the way this match works is it's basically Iwatani getting caught with some bombs early and trying to survive through. And
which is a story that always works.
Oh, it works all the time. As long as you've got the people, the wrestlers.
Yeah.
to put that match together.
Yeah.
Were good enough. Yeah, it works every time.
Yeah, it's a nice, easy story to tell as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You've got your definitive person that you're rooting for because you think this person's just going to murder him.
And this one works as well because you've got the outsider, like Aroa coming in from a different company. So the bigger wrestler, the stronger wrestler coming in from a different company, catching the champion, Iwatani, out.
When we actually put this list together, and Marsh sent me through the matches to watch, this was the first one I've watched, so this is one of my first introductions. I watched Okada versus Omega, which I must be the only person in the world who wasn't into their matches, I just wasn't. But this is essentially my first introduction to Japanese style wrestling and how the crowds react and things like that. And what I really liked about this one is it's made me want to watch more.
Yeah,
I think that's what it does more than anything. What a good wrestling match should do is make you want to watch another one.
Yeah.
And I would watch Stardom. I could sit and watch a Stardom show now.
Yeah, this is ideally what all wrestling should do.
Yeah.
All good wrestling should make you want to watch more of that wrestler or that company.
Yeah.
From the way you present it to the commentary, of which I don't speak Japanese. So,
no, the commentary is Japanese. It is tough.
But it's the enthusiasm of the commentators is still there.
Yeah.
Even though you can always feel that with Japanese commentary, they do have the enthusiasm there, regardless of whether you can speak the language or not.
Mm.
They have that effusive nature you got with the Spanish commentators as well.
Yeah. It's an emotive language, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. So you can always tell the importance of it.
Yeah.
So, and I will say this about this: this match is never less than exciting.
No.
And the finishing sequence.
Oh, it's awesome.
Is spectacular.
It is. It's really, really good.
So yeah, for me, definitely the best women's match.
Yeah.
Of 2020.
I would actually, when we put this list together, there was most we agreed on, but I actually had this finishing higher than the next match.
Yeah, you did.
I really liked it. Really, really liked it.
Okay, we're down to number 7 now, which is Go Shiozaki versus Takashi Sugiura for the GHC title from the very recent, Noah the Best Final Chronicle show.
Yeah. Second Japanese match ever.
We got this one, and it is long.
It is very, very long, and I think it starts slow.
It does start slow.
It starts slower than a Randy Orton match.
Yeah, it does start very slow, but it is 51 minutes long. So I would say that sure you can start a 51-minute match slowly.
I think
I think you can give people that benefit of the doubt. I think it doesn't really start any slower than say the slowest starting hour match ever, which is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels Iron Man match at WrestleMania.
This is where you actually get people hating you, though, mate.
It was 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I think the last 15 minutes of that match is great, but anyway, once again, getting caught off topic. Shiozaki this year, he won the title at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And has basically just proceeded to have 30-plus minute matches all year.
Is it what Noah do? Because I don't know much about Noah as a company.
Well, in 2000, Noah formed from people leaving All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Kenta Kobashi, Misawa, stuff. Segura was there in 2000 when they all left, because Segura at this stage obviously is one of the nastiest 50-year-old people you will ever see in your life.
That's the one who fought Josh Barnett, is it? In Bloodsport.
No, that's Suzuki. That's Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah,
he's the nastiest 50-year-old man you'll ever see in your entire life. But yeah, Segura, he's 50, and he does not look 50.
No, he doesn't.
And he certainly doesn't wrestle like he's 50.
No. This match, though, again, the opening thing, I won't lie, I was struggling for 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time to get going. When it does get going.
Oh, when it gets going, it gets going.
Oh, my Lord.
I'll tell you what, do you know what got me through the first 25 minutes? The commentary team. The English commentary team on this, it's a weird commentary team, isn't it? It's a Scottish guy, a Welsh guy, and a Japanese guy.
Who only commentates in Japanese.
So you've got all this, and every time the Japanese commentator said something, I think it's the Scottish guy just went, that's right. And that just made me laugh, because it was all the way through. Because he didn't even need to understand. It was like they didn't know what he was saying. Just going, yes, and then just carried on.
I actually saw these two at a Noah show in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
I do not remember the year. What I do remember about that show was that there was a tag match with Kings of Wrestling.
Yeah.
Versus, I want to say Go Shiozaki, and it might have been Go Shiozaki and Takeshi Morishima. That was one of the best matches I've ever watched live. Obviously, Kings of Wrestling being Chris Hero and what is now Cesaro.
Yeah.
So that match was amazing. But yeah, Noah put on very realistic looking, very hard hitting main events.
While I was watching it, I was thinking, why can't I just have that UFC graphic where they come up and they show significant strikes? Because it was chops v forearms.
Yeah, there's a bit in the corner where after he lands in the corner off the German suplex, and he just hammers. Shiguro just hammers him.
Because one of my least favourite spots in wrestling, which does crop up in a later match, is when two wrestlers stand in front of each other and throw the worst looking punches in the world, and they're just going like this. But when these two did it, one was hitting, they were just hitting each other. There was no.
Well, it's probably about 10 minutes in, and Segura's bleeding from his chest. He's throwing at him. And he's just.
And he leaves with bruised forearms. He is laying them forearms in.
It is. There isn't a great deal you can say about this because there's not big spots in this. There's a swinging neck breaker on the exposed floor.
As moves go, there was a nice superplex.
Yeah.
There was a Boston Crab, a DDT neck breaker on the outside.
Yeah. The swinging neck breaker on the outside.
50 odd minutes, 50 plus minutes, and they are the only wrestling moves.
Yeah, it is basically just people
fighting,
beating the hell out of each other for 50 minutes.
It is. The last 25 minutes, last 26 minutes are really good.
Yeah, they are really good. Could they have shaved some time off this? Sure. Yeah. But they did want to tell the story that Shiozaki's had this horrendously brutal year as champion, defending constantly in 30 plus. 11 days before this, he had a 45-minute match against Nakajima where Nakajima kicks the crap out of him. So. This is how this goes.
I did need to get used to, if we take one of those few wrestling moments, or a DDT neckbreaker on the outside, and I think I had to message you during the last match as well, because they get a 20 count.
Yeah, you get international count.
Yeah, that's
international count, 20 count on the outside. Most places other than America use a 20 count on the outside. Japan uses a 20 count on the outside. Yeah. A lot of British companies use a 20 count on the outside. Yeah, it's the international count, they call it. So you get a 20 on the outside.
I think. Oh no, there was lots of knees and strikes and things.
Yeah, it is a very strike heavy match. Although there are other matches on this list that are also very strike heavy. This is a very strike heavy top 10.
Yes, it is. You can tell that we like people getting punched.
I do like a good believable strike.
Yeah, definitely.
And submission moves, like working a body part.
The actual finish of this, by the way, was ace.
Yeah.
The 3 lariats.
Yeah, where he just.
I just took his head. I put Bradshaw to shame.
It's just. He does lay them in. Stan Hansen style. Except he's actually aiming. Stan Hansen didn't aim.
If Stan Hansen watched this match, he'd be watching that match, and when he hit them lariats, he'd go, ooh.
Stan Hansen would be loving it, mate. Stan Hansen would be put me in there. Yeah. Put me in there. Stan Hansen loved it. Stan Hansen, Vader back in the day. It's very reminiscent of the All Japan scene in the mid '90s, where you had Misawa and Kobashi and Dr. Death, and they were throwing bombs at each other. You had Stan Hansen and Vader in New Japan and stuff like that.
The other reason though I rated this lower than the last one, because when I was reviewing it, when I was watching them, I was rating them and I gave this one 4. The slow start annoyed me, but the referee in this match, is woeful. He does a 2 count and he pauses. He goes 1, 2. And then it's that pause. It's like, why?
Every single time.
Every time. Even when the 3 count comes.
I understand that this is the style of that referee, but
it takes away from the match.
It does take away. It takes away from near falls because it constantly feels like there's going to be a near fall.
Yeah.
Rather than a pin. That does take away from it. But the match itself.
Nothing that the wrestlers.
Nothing against the wrestlers whatsoever.
They're working to the ref. So when they're kicking out on them quick 2s, the ref's already paused.
Yeah.
So where they should be kicking out, they're kicking out. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
So the ref ruins it, which you shouldn't do. That's a bad referee because a referee should be invisible.
Well, no, you were saying about the finish when it's just 3 lariats. I say just 3 lariats. It's the kind of match where you don't need big finishes.
No.
I mean, Segura's got his high angle Olympic slam, which is a nasty version of Olympic slam, lands way further up the back neck region. But it's not about that. This match is more about telling the story of who's the last person standing. It was why I like when Shiozaki picks up the win with those lariats, and he's in the ring before the great Keiji Muto comes in and announces he's having a title match, which will be dreadful because Muto's 300 years old.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how much older than Segura he is, but he looks a lot worse.
Yeah, he does.
But I like after the match, Segura just gives him that thumbs up as he's walking up the ramp as if to say, fair play, mate.
Yeah, it was good match. And if, like me, you're new to Japanese wrestling, well, newish, I have seen it in the past, but never really sat and watched it.
It's not a bad idea of what you can expect from, certainly from Noah, certainly in the main event. What I will say is this is a bit long. If you're just getting into Japanese wrestling, it might be a bit long.
Well, I think if you're already a wrestling fan, like me, because I am a big wrestling fan.
And at this stage, when you're probably looking to branch out from WWE because it's programming, its TV shows are woefully.
Their pay-per-views are woeful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to slag off the WWE because that roster is incredible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's not the roster's fault.
It's the writing and the booking that is really costing WWE at this stage.
Well, you say they're booking the wrong people in wrong spots and abandoning. They've just while we're on this tangent, the abandoning like Raw Underground. They've just scrapped it.
I mean, it was dreadful. But
it was dreadful. But they've just put Braun Strowman. That was his whole new thing. It just gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's
I mean, it happens week in, week out.
It's dreadful.
A storyline will be finished anyway. Shiozaki Segura, highly recommended.
Highly. Shall we go on to number 6?
We shall, which is Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado from the Best of the Super Junior 27 final.
Just quickly, this one will only be homage. It happened. When did it happen?
About 6 days ago.
From time of recording, 6 days ago. Go.
So, yeah, I mean, I could have picked any number of New Japan matches for this. 2 Okada matches from Wrestle Kingdom. Definitely the Ibushi one, which is right up there in the match of the year list. But I didn't want to pick a ton of New Japan matches.
Yeah.
For the 5 matches I picked for this list, they're all from different companies. Five different companies.
Well, it's what we said at the outset. They're not necessarily the greatest matches, but they're good indicators and.
Yeah, good indicators of the 2020 as a whole in wrestling. And I know this might be recency bias from me, to be honest, but I found this match to be outstanding.
Yeah.
You've got...
It was fun.
Yeah. I mean, we just come off a weird G1 climax because there was fans there, but it didn't really feel...
We should have mentioned, in the last match, there were fans there.
Yeah.
That was the last match.
Oh, yeah, that last match was the match, yeah.
The applauding bit.
Yeah, and the stamping the feet because they weren't allowed to cheer.
Very weird.
Yeah, very weird situation. But we've just come off a G1, it had a number of good matches in it.
Yeah.
Once again, Okada was excellent, Ishii was excellent, like usual, Shingo Takagi, excellent wrestler. But this match, I think the whole story of Hiromu Takahashi, he had a match with Ryo Lee. I don't even know what to call the move really. It's like a compact German brainbuster type maneuver. He landed directly on his head anyway. Broke his neck. He was out for 550 days or something like that.
So it was a legit injury.
Yeah, legit. He finished the match because he's crazy. And he was out for 500 and something.
Well, he finished the match because of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you do train in Japan when you're in the dojo. Whilst most wrestlers train to bump, all wrestlers train to bump.
Yeah.
In Japan, you also train your neck.
Yeah.
Because you take so many high angle suplexes and things. But so he came back from that injury. He had a good year throughout. He had a great match with Ospreay at the start of the year, and then he came through and he won his second Best of the Super Juniors here against El Desperado in a match. It's not only just a feel-good story that he come back from the injury and managed to win the Best of the Super Juniors, but the match itself is great. The in-ring storytelling is great. The storytelling to build up to it. They wrestled each other years ago in Mexico. The whole thing is just a really good thing. There's a part. It's not the fastest starting junior heavyweight / cruiserweight match you'll ever see in your life, because the Desperado spends a lot of time working the leg for his finisher, the numero dos, which has the Brock. And so he spends a lot of time working that, and Hiromu has to fight his way back through it and everything. So there's not a massive amount of high flying moves. And the one time Hiromu does go for a high flying move, he tries the sunset bomb to the outside, which he's done numerous times, and it always looks ridiculously dangerous. But this time Desperado holds on to the ropes, and he just ends up eating shit on a forward flip to the floor. So, but yeah, there's a bit in this. It kind of turns when Hiromu's had enough, and he rips half of Desperado's mask off, and Desperado just basically looks at him and says, "You think I need this?" Takes the entire mask off, which he looks cool without the mask on anyway, with the face paint and everything. So, and then they just start wailing on each other. And it really, for me, this is the best junior heavyweight / cruiserweight match. And I know it's weird because you can't really compare it to what the X Division or 205 Live. But comparing this to 205 Live, comparing apples to boulders.
And to be fair, with the X Division, that hasn't been anything for years now.
No.
Yeah,
so it's a really weird, and obviously AEW doesn't have a cruiserweight division, but a lot of its wrestlers would qualify for the cruiserweight division. I don't think they need a cruiserweight division because it's just a wrestling division. They don't treat it like Japan, where they're separate, separate and equal.
We could do a whole hour on the pros and cons of AEW and what they do right, what I like anyway, and what they do wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, they haven't. I don't think they need one. I don't think it's necessary. And if they did one, they'd probably just form a giant faction anyway.
Probably. But I mean, having said that, this is the first junior heavyweight match that's ever headlined the building they're in, Nippon Budokan. So fair, but they did want to go out there and tell the story. They did go out there and tell the story. Like I said, it might be recency bias because the match is only 6 days old at this stage, and it's been a long time since I've watched. And New Japan has been winding me up this year with its main event storytelling with Evil has been horrendous. Way too much Bullet Club random interference. I'm not a fan of random constant interference in main event matches. I do not like it one bit. So yeah, I think all in all,
good match.
Very good match. Very much deserving of this. If you wanted to put any number of New Japan matches in here, you absolutely could.
I think
they'd all end up about this area on the list.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, coming in at 5 is Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly from NXT TakeOver 31.
Yeah, the worst named NXT TakeOver.
Well, without doubt, yeah, because they didn't take over anything. They just took over a number for some reason.
So, I don't know if fairness, 30 is also a number, but at least you can use Roman numerals for that. So.
Well, I picked this one because I'm a big fan of Balor. I'm a big fan of O'Reilly.
I like Balor.
I think Balor's been I think Balor falls into the mistreated on the main roster category. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think you could definitely make an argument for that.
I think he had a good showing against Lesnar. I do.
Yeah.
I think that was Paul Heyman though who did that.
Who he sold Balor as a legitimate threat to Lesnar.
Yeah. But this match is kind of redemption, I think, for Balor. I think for how he was treated on the main roster, and we are entering stiff territory here. What I didn't like about it, it's one of my little moans again. I don't like wrestlers acting as fans. I think it's pathetic. Before the match even started, the wrestlers at ringside are chanting, "This is awesome."
Yeah, I hate it.
Rubbish, hated it. I also hate. It's the same as in AEW when Jericho comes down and the wrestlers are singing his theme tune. This is a guy you're going to feud with, and you're there dancing away. No, stop it.
Yeah, if the fans want to do it.
Yeah, fans is fine, but wrestlers shouldn't be getting into the entrance.
It is weird.
Enjoy the match, make noise during the match. I can live with that.
Yeah, because that actually helps out the feeling of the match. But
I just hate that. But that's
there was no need for that. This is awesome, John. I almost
turned it off.
I almost put that down in my notes. I was like, I didn't remember that happened.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that happened because I just remembered by the time I'd gone back to rewatch it, all I remembered was the match.
Yeah.
But then I immediately put it on and I was like, oh, wow.
What are you missing also? I mean, nothing happened yet. They've had their intros.
But yeah, Balor's best WWE match.
Oh, by a mile.
Yeah.
By an absolute mile. I mean, he's had good matches. He's had good matches in NXT.
Yeah, he has had good matches.
I enjoyed the one against Kevin Owens where he won the title.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Seth Rollins.
On
Brock
the main
Lesnar.
roster, he had that where AJ Styles was a last-minute replacement.
Actually, no, that's close to his best match.
This is better than
This is better than that, but that was his best match. That was ace.
Yeah, that's when they flew Styles in from South America.
But then because
Wyatt got mumps. I think it was mumps, yeah.
But when you're facing AJ Styles, you can't go wrong, really, can you? It's always going to be at least good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's great. I like Balor. I like his style. He's very quick. I think he moves quick.
Yeah, certainly for. I mean, he's what now 38 as well.
I think he's smooth as well. I like O'Reilly because I like watching grapplers.
Yeah, I like O'Reilly. I've liked Kyle O'Reilly for years. For me,
he's the best in the Undisputed Era. Marginally.
Possibly him and Strong are the two best in-ring workers of Undisputed
And Bobby
Era.
Fish isn't far behind.
No, he isn't. No.
Adam Cole's
all there. He's good. Adam Cole's a good in-ring worker.
He's charisma though. He's charisma of the group.
That's what he is. He is in fact the charisma.
Which is why Undisputed Era work.
Yeah, it is. It is why they work.
But yeah, this is. I think O'Reilly's grappling in this is great because when he grapples, the easiest way to make a Kimura or armbar look real is to put a Kimura or an armbar on to do it. You don't have to put it in tight. It's the same. I hate to go with triangle chokes, and I hate to bring him up. But Shane McMahon's triangle should be banned. Yeah. It should be taken out of existence and burned because it's awful.
It is dreadful.
Just put a triangle on.
Yeah. You don't have to sink it in. No. Just put the move on and don't sink it in. Yeah. It'll look a lot better than whatever.
Well, anyway, but yeah, this match is great. The kicks are hard. It's two blokes who go in, and you can literally see the moment Balor breaks his jaw.
It's the knee in the corner. Yeah. It is. He hits him stiff.
And you can see Balor react, and then he takes a German suplex immediately after.
Yeah, and immediately holds onto his jaw. He's like, we need to finish this.
I think that double foot stomp from the top, I think he's a bit pissed off. You can see his face and blood is pouring from his mouth.
Yeah. Which they're both bleeding from the mouth, and it helps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
This is a match where it's not much blood, but you can tell that they've been hit hard because that's real blood. That's not. I mean, it's all real blood, but it's not a gimmick.
When I first watched this match, though, I mean, NXT Takeover 31, that wasn't too long ago, was it?
No.
Really, in the big scheme of things.
Couple of takeovers.
It actually got me enthused about NXT again because NXT.
The TV show had been on a decline.
Yeah, and so had the takeovers.
There'd
been moments, flashes at 30. Adam Cole and Pat McAfee was.
That was way better than I think anyone thought. Pat McAfee has been a revelation, to be honest with you. Fair play to the guy.
But followed up from this was Halloween Havoc, which I thought was very good. I enjoyed it. It was nicely done, nicely put together. And, it got me re-enthused about NXT, watching NXT, catching up on NXT, which I'm glad because as the list goes on, it got me re-watching other things.
Yeah.
I
think there's a good mix of strikes and ground wrestling in this, which you should be because Kyle O'Reilly does both of those things to a top tier level.
So I think Balor shows that he can actually wrestle well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew Balor can wrestle well. It's just that he hasn't shown it in any long-term form over the course of being in the WWE.
No,
he's brought in with all of that fanfare from being the leader of Bullet Club and all of that, which seems like an eternity ago. Yeah. Bullet Club's still going. It's just worse by the day.
Yeah.
But he brought in with all that fanfare, won the Universal title, got injured, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning as well that this match was actually put down a little bit by that end because they finished the match and the match was great.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong. literally 2 seconds later, Adam Cole stole his thunder because he's been battered by some giants who just turned up and dumped him.
Ridge Holland.
And everyone's going, "Oh, Adam!" Oh, it drove me mad.
Yeah,
So I just
Roderick Strong, the worst actor of the Undisputed Era. Somebody get a medical team.
There was the other thing I liked, some great selling.
Yeah,
I'd be amiss not to mention that liver shot.
Yeah,
slap.
this is what I was going to mention. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that he hits him with the liver shot and he goes to do a move and then he immediately sells it.
Yeah,
because that's believable. You ever been hit in the liver?
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So
but then that runs through the whole match.
Yeah,
and
it's constant. The foot stomps work into it. Everything works into it.
But then with O'Reilly works over both Balor's arm and leg.
Yeah.
So he can transition from knee bars to arm bars, and it works, and it's great. And that's what I hate to bring him up again. John Moxley should watch sometimes because he just doesn't.
Moxley's the Terminator, mate.
Yeah, he's awful. He's the worst wrestler most overrated wrestler in wrestling now is John Moxley. He's dreadful.
I don't mind Moxley.
That's because on this account you're wrong.
No.
He's terrible.
Quite like Moxley. But yeah, I was to say about this, like...
They both came out injured.
Yeah, which is what... they sell it, but is it really selling?
No.
Because if you end a match and you sell the effects of the match, which is wonderful,
which
is a running theme through most of this, people sell the effects of what they've just done because it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think they sold because they were legitimately.
I
mean, especially in Balor's case, he could have just wanted to be out of there because his jaw wasn't in one piece like so.
One of the worst things that's going to happen now is he's going to get murdered by Karrion Kross.
Oh, I do not look forward to that.
Not one bit, because all this work they've done with Balor, which I think they have re-established him, because leading into this, he'd had some good match.
He had a good match with Gargano.
Dragunov.
Yeah.
He'd had a good match.
Oh yeah, I forgot he had that match with Dragunov. Yeah.
Really good that was. And then it's what they did with Ciampa. Ciampa hasn't recovered from getting murdered from Cross yet.
No, not really. His match with Thatcher's. I mean, it's a divisive match. The Ciampa Thatcher match from the last takeover. I liked it.
I liked it.
I thought it was another.
It was good.
It was a slow build and stiff encounter. That's what I like about wrestling.
Well, yeah, I think this one. I wanted to put this second.
Yeah.
I wanted to put it second, but with some of the other, with the remaining 4 matches, to me now this is where the 5 stars start.
Yeah,
and
I
think
I could make an argument for any of them.
Yeah.
I think one of them isn't, but I think the other 3 are.
Which one?
I believe.
One coming up.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I think arguments could be made in favour of any of these next ones for Match of the Year. Right, number 4. We have Tyler Bate versus Jordan Devlin from NXT TakeOver Blackpool 2.
Yeah, 2. Don't forget that bit.
No, you can't forget the 2.
That's so NXT UK getting some love, and it won't be the last. Which I assume anybody who listens to this will not be surprised about.
No, I think everybody would have worked out by now what number.
Well, one of the top 3 certainly is going to be. Yeah.
But yeah, it's this I hadn't watched. For a while.
I'd half forgotten about it, and then I went back to watch it, and I remembered how good this was.
Yeah,
especially that crowd. That crowd makes this.
Yeah, that crowd was red hot. British crowds are always more fun. The chants are better. I mean, take your shoes off if you hate Zach Gibson. It's the best chant I've ever heard. But they've got a different chant for everyone. There was dueling chants in it. It was just great. Everything. The crowd-wise, it was great. I think is along with Pete Dunne and. Perhaps in a sense, Devlin, future.
I think Devlin is a better wrestler than both of those. I'm going to say that right now. Yeah, I think Devlin is incredible.
I don't think he's better than Dunne.
This match kind of made Devlin.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Unfortunately, from a number of reasons, he hasn't been able to capitalise on that.
Yeah. Which we won't go into now.
No, at least half of that.
Yeah.
But we had obviously the global situation.
Yeah.
Which hasn't helped him capitalise on this, and then his own idiocy, indiscretions.
Yeah. But then we've got as a match. I think Bate is the best one out of them.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with whoever.
Yeah,
but Bate has a very particular style. It's a very good style. He runs through his stuff a lot.
If I was building a wrestling company now, and I could pick 5 wrestlers to just take, maybe 6 because I'm on Alistair Blackmark, but I would take Walter, I would take Bate, I'd take Dunn, I'd take Devlin, and I'd take Hangman Page.
I love Hangman Page. But yeah,
they're the 5 wrestlers I would build a company around.
You could make an argument for building a company around any of those. And this match it's a really good match. It's a takeover special, is what I'd call it.
Yeah,
it's very much an NXT takeover match.
It's a long,
big moves, reasonably long, 20 odd minutes. I think it goes.
Gets a clap from Triple H at the end.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. You can see the way it's positioned and the way that Regal and Triple H and that were positioned in the crowd. They knew it was going to be good. It's positioned there to be good. Bates already made at this stage in NXT.
Over,
This is to make Devlin even in defeat.
And it does. It makes Devlin. Does that exact spot because the guy, I think the good thing about Bate is he's just so ludicrously strong.
Yeah, I mean for a guy of his stature,
he's only about 3'2", and he can pick up, he press slam water.
Yeah,
he's just a freak, and again, I think it was positioned there as well because they knew the crowd would be into it.
Yeah,
and the crowd are red hot.
That's it. It's positioned. I mean, it's positioned between. I think there's.
It was positioned there.
It's before the ladder match because it's going to be completely different from the ladder match. I can't remember what's on before it, but I think the main event of this show is Walter and Joe Coffey.
Yeah, which isn't great. It's probably Walter's worst match in WWE.
So yeah, it's one of them where they put the title match last, but I think they know the title match isn't going to be the show stealer here.
Which is probably why they put it there, because then the crowd's hot for the whole way through. Because they're just about drunk enough to be just insane.
Right, it's Britain. They were drunk hours ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's perfect positioning. It's before they're still hyped when the ladder match comes in, which is also a very good match on this show. The triple threat ladder.
In the polar opposite though to the 55-minute slugfest.
This doesn't waste any time.
This moves at a really quick pace, and it's wrestling moves. It is move out. If you were going to pick a spot fest that isn't flippy, because I'm not a big fan on spot fest, but this essentially is a spot fest because it's big wrestling moves, isn't it?
I don't mind spot fest if they're done at the right time. It is the thing. Like if your main event's a spot fest, you probably know. But if you've got a spot fest in your card to keep people entertained,
that's it. Wrestling's about appeasing everyone. So this to me,
I don't mind a spot fest at all. But yeah, this is not what I'd describe as a spot fest necessarily.
Spot fest is in wrestling.
Yeah, there's a lot of chain wrestling combination moves in this, where they could go from one move into another move into another move, and it's big moves.
There's some moves that I think need a mention. I do enjoy the aeroplane spin. I do.
That was a ridiculous aeroplane spin.
It was ludicrous. I got dizzy watching it.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy Devlin's Spanish fly moonsaulty type effort off the top, where they swapped round in the top corner.
The balance required there.
Yeah, it's unreal. That was impressive. And I don't think Tyler Bate ever disappoints.
I don't think he's had a bad match.
I think he's in the AJ Styles league of everything he does is good.
At this stage, with him being 15 years younger than AJ Styles, which
isn't AJ? No, he's probably about 20 years. Tyler Bate like 15 years old.
I think now he's like 23, 24.
Yeah.
And Styles is 40.
40, yeah. And to get to that, you see, that's where I put Pete Dunne as well. And to a certain extent, Devlin. Nothing they do is bad.
No.
You're not gonna see them on a card and go, I don't fancy that.
Yeah.
It's not Bobby Lashley where you can just zone him out.
Yeah, Jordan Devlin has a whole. He looks like a human bobblehead.
Yeah,
his head's way bigger than his body.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So he has that to work over.
Yeah.
But he's in really good nick. He's an excellent wrestler.
Yeah. Really good match. And I think.
This is the match that has the Fry Takayama spot in it.
Which one's that?
This one, they have where they just punch.
Oh yeah, that's the bit I don't like. I don't like the just punch because they end up slapping.
Yeah.
Doing that.
There's a Fry Takayama spot in it, which is exactly what the commentator calls it too. He's like, it's the Fry Takayama.
I do think, because this has Nigel McGuinness commentating.
It does, yeah.
Nigel McGuinness for me is the best play-by-play man in wrestling. Because I think Shivani is so much a play-by-play, he can build a match. McGuinness is play-by-play.
AEW's commentary team, the best commentary team, is weird because Excalibur's clearly the colour guy in that, but he also knows more moves than the two play-by-play guys because he spent so much time commentating on independent wrestling. He knows all the moves, but he obviously is the colour guy. JR is the straight man, the play-by-play guy, and Shivani's kind of like in between.
He's the host.
That's the best way to describe it.
And that's if I was picking a 3-man team, I'd have Shivani as the host, I'd have McGuinness as the play-by-play, and I would probably try and get Joe.
Samoa Joe's would be a good colour commentator. I'd rather have Joe the wrestler than Joe the commentator.
Oh, God, yeah,
even though Joe the commentator is WWE's best commentator, main roster commentator. In my opinion. And better than all of NXT's commentators, except for Nigel McGuinness, for that matter.
I like Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett's all right, but as I explained when we watched the last takeover, he didn't ruin it. He just pronounces things weird.
But there's some nice in this match. Back to this match because we've gone off again. The spots, the moves that I liked, I enjoyed. I did enjoy the surfboard stretch.
It's always a good looking move, especially when he pulls his head down and you're face to face.
And back to that airplane spin. How much does that pop that crowd?
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
They love it.
It's all wrestling is. Pop the crowd, man.
Pop the crowd, and then you've got them, because all it is basically what toddlers do for 10 hours a day. I watch my little boy just spin in circles and circles and circles. And it does look loads of fun.
There is some great exchanges in this. Like the finish, that's springboard DDT. Springboard satellite DDT is perfectly nailed.
Yeah, it is.
It is wonderfully nailed. The whole finishing sequence is great.
Yeah.
Best main takeover match this year. This.
Yeah. But takeover, I think NXT on the whole has been suffered one crowd. You could tell that from Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. When they had a crowd, everything looked great. They didn't have a crowd. And
NXT UK not only hasn't had a crowd, it hasn't had a show.
I mean,
for a large portion.
If Velveteen Dream wasn't what he is, he has suffered as well from not having a crowd immensely.
Although, in all fairness, if there was a crowd, it probably also.
Beforehand. I remember watching.
It looked a star for a bit.
I remember watching him against Tommaso Ciampa, and he was over.
Yeah.
But then, when you actually re-watch his ring work, it's
not that great.
It's not great.
No.
Number 3, and this one is going to hurt.
Yeah, we've got the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page from AEW Revolution. The best tag match of the last 5 years. Outstanding tag match.
Right. Can I just get off why this is going to hurt? I've never been a fan of the Bucks. Never. I love Hangman Page. I think he's the future of wrestling. One of the futures of wrestling. I don't get Kenny Omega. So when I was sent this match to look through, I wasn't looking forward to it. However, it actually does pain me to say this. It is an absolutely stunning match.
Yeah.
It's a tour de force of tag team wrestling, but if you were going to use it in WWE terms, for me, you've got 3 Shawn Michaels and Kenny Omega's the Mighty Jannetty. This match. He is the Jannetty. In this match, he plays his part, he does the story. But
here's the thing. Jannetty wasn't money, but Omega's money.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he's the Jannetty.
For you.
For me, he's the Jannetty.
Yeah, I'd disagree with you vehemently. But yeah, this is the best tag match I've seen in years. Like the story going in, all 4 men know each other.
Yeah. The story to it's great.
And the fact that they constantly play on Hangman Page is going to be the weakness, and it turns out that's complete opposite of what happened.
There was some nice storytelling where the Jannetty stops Hangman Page powerbombing. Yeah. One of the Bucks, I can't remember, was it Matt or Nick? One of the Bucks, anyway, through a table, stops him, throws him back. I thought that was nice. I thought that was a nice touch to emphasise. We ain't winning like that.
Yeah. You do get this match starts off and it's let's have a proper match. Let's not get involved in any bullshittery. And then after 15 minutes or whatever, the Young Bucks are just like, you know what, sod it.
Bullshittery.
Yeah. Let's just.
I liked that Page. Did he spit at Matt Jackson too?
Yeah.
Because everyone, the whole thing was Hangman Page can't control his emotions. Then Matt Jackson lost it. There was some nice, and what this match did, it is one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. Probably since NXT New York.
Oh yeah.
But it just worked. It worked well, and it changed my mind on the books. They could grow on me.
The Bucks are one of those teams that do they have spot fests occasionally, because if depending on how important the Bucks work to how important their match is on the card.
Yeah.
If they're booked in a position to pop the crowd, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to pop the crowd, yeah, they're going to work a mostly spot heavy match.
Yeah.
If they need to be in a position like this where it's one of the main events of the show, and they need to sell, they need to work, they need to tell the story, that's what they'll do.
And they did. They did this really well. There was some. One of the nicer spots, I think it was Nick Jackson, where he had Omega in the corner, and he tagged in. It was the hot tag, so he tagged in, and he had Omega in the corner, and he had Omega into a running bulldog, and Hangman Page over. So as he ran over, he flipped in a bird and then did some kind of bulldog into.
Yeah, this Nick Jackson is wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, he does a bulldog clothesline. Yeah. Nick Jackson is a wonderful tag wrestler. I know that people just think the Young Bucks are just two of the identical people, but Nick Jackson does all of the connective stuff in matches.
Yeah.
He's so smooth. He's the one that goes through the ropes to connect moonsaults together, and he's.
Now you mentioned through the ropes. There was the X Factor where he came over the top. I think that may have been Matt. Was it Matt or was it
that's
Nick?
Nick.
Was it Nick?
Yeah.
He came over the top to X Factor. Hangman Page, and then rolled through the ropes almost immediately to.
This is all the stuff Nick does. This is all the stuff Nick Jackson does. The best connector of tag matches in wrestling.
What I mentioned earlier about the little nuances in the Sasha Banks match.
Yeah.
It was this match that made me see him, because everything except one thing, and the only thing they messed up was that tombstone on the outside.
Yeah, he's a bit far away.
He was too far away, and he sort of tickled Hangman Page's ass cheeks. Yeah. But apart from that, everything was so smooth and so immediate, and so it was no lost motion.
Yeah, this is literally the opposite of that 51-minute Segura match.
Oh God, yeah. This
is literally the opposite of that. Everything that feels like it's a fight. It's bit by bit. It's beating somebody down. This is wrestling. This is chain wrestling.
Yeah,
smooth, excellent chain wrestling.
And the before we get to the finish, I just thought the Hangman Page moonsault, the camera angle that AEW managed on that was superb, because they cut away to that diagonal angle, and the height that he got was unreal, and it made the move. Because usually you get that hard angle from WWE, don't you? So you don't actually appreciate.
Yeah, you get a hard angle from some stuff, and you get 10,000. You get 10,000 cuts for other stuff.
Yeah.
The Asai moonsault to the outside where he lands on his feet is
that's the angle. The angle's great. Then he lands on his feet.
That horror moonsault. I don't want to get called out for the wrong move.
If Page doesn't win the AEW title next year,
he needs to win it from Omega.
He needs to be the one to dethrone Omega.
Yeah,
because he's a star.
He is. I mean, just. How long is it into this where the crowd are just chanting cowboy shit straight away?
Yeah.
Then he is over, super over at this.
I mean, I even like the stuff that he's doing now, and one of my main gripes, I've alluded to it, one of my main gripes with AEW is, to me, it runs the same story. It's will he, won't he join a faction. They've done it now about 10 million times. But the actual AEW, the best one, is the Hangman Page, will he, won't he, with the Dark Order. Mainly because John Silver is one of the few wrestlers who is funny.
Legitimately funny.
But, it's good. It's really, really good.
I mean, some of the
exchanges... It makes me interested in a cowboy gimmick, which hasn't been good for years.
Yeah, he is a weird throwback to that.
But he plays it a bit differently.
His entrance music's awesome as well. It's like a Four Horsemen rip-off.
While we're on entrance music for Omega, I prefer this one to his stupid cleaner one. The cleaner one that he does now, I don't understand. To me, that isn't a top line. That isn't... He's coming in... Yeah, I find it funny since you explained about the Michael Jordan thing. I find that funny. But it shouldn't be funny. He's a world champion.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Omega's Omega. He's never.
He's the Jannetty.
He's never been. Jannetty never won multiple world titles, mate.
Obviously, he wasn't booked by the people who were booking Kenny Omega.
To the best of my knowledge, Kenny Omega hasn't asked Facebook some questions he shouldn't.
About his daughter.
Yeah.
But okay, he's an Al Snow.
I love Al Snow. I watched Al Snow fight Steve Corino for the AWA title.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, I don't know when the AWA title lost relevance. 80s. This was in like 2006 or 2004, something like that. It was like 45 minutes long. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Multiple world titles doesn't make him good.
Not necessarily.
There's been bad multiple world champions.
There certainly has.
JBL for one.
Did he win multiple?
Yeah.
He only won one.
Yeah, but he seemed to hold it forever.
He did hold it for almost a year.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that's a horrible title reign. It's got some really good matches in it.
It has, yeah, but it's still JBL, isn't it?
He's still played a weird racist gimmick during it. So
Rey Mysterio was a terrible world
champion. Awful world champion. He's won it multiple times.
Yeah. Anyway,
the finish of this though is outstanding.
It's excellent.
The
one-winged angel, isn't it? The Hangman Page hits.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually end it, does it? Because you get what amazing breakup.
Yeah.
Right last second breakup.
Brilliant.
There's some tremendous near falls in that, and I do like it when the tag partner breaks it up rather than the guy kicks out, because then you're like, he would have won it.
Yeah, because like you've said, even I've picked up, because I've watched enough Omega now. I've tried. I really have tried with the guy, but even I've noticed how protected the one-winged angel is.
I don't think anyone's ever kicked out.
To the best Carter?
No.
Did he do?
No.
I thought he hit 2 or 3 on him in one of his matches.
He hit 2 in a row.
Yeah.
But
he didn't pin it.
He didn't try the pin in between.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think anyone's ever kicked out. It isn't like the burning hammer, like when Kabashi had used it, but he only used it 7 times.
Or the Dirty Deeds.
Yeah, well, that's pretty protected, but that wasn't protected at all in WWE. So
Dirty Deeds?
The DDT wasn't protected that well in WWE.
Nobody kicked out the Dirty Deeds.
Did they not?
No.
I mean, I don't think anyone's kicked out of it in AEW.
We used to mock it all the time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's kicked out of it in AEW.
Yeah, but he's modified it in AEW, so it looks even worse.
Paradigm shift. It's not the best finisher.
No,
it looked good when he did it on Omega through a glass table.
See, he's a junk wrestler.
Anyway. He does like a good garbage match.
He does.
He does.
He does. That's because he takes no talent.
Well, tell Foley that, eh?
Foley, but Foley was different because he had charisma. Moxley's got none.
Well, we'll get it off.
Yeah, we're going off.
Right, so that's number 3.
There was a punch spot in this, wasn't there?
Maybe.
Punch for punch spot. I think it was in this.
I don't remember if there is one in this.
I need to mention, for all of my dislike of Kenny Omega,
V-Trigger.
V-Trigger's amazing. It's amazing. The knees actually in this match, the knees that they throw.
He pumps the V-Trigger so hard, like he put so much effort into the movement for...
The movement of it is immense.
But he does no damage, really, to anyone in the grand scheme of things. But yeah,
it probably broke Finn Balor's jaw.
Yeah.
On to 2.
Yep, number 2, we've got Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay for the British title from Revolution Pro High Stakes earlier in the year, February, I think. Might have been a bit later. Yeah, this is awesome.
It is so good. I think when I watched this, I messaged you, don't I, saying, why aren't these signed? Why aren't these 2 guys?
Well, I did explain to you they do actually work for New Japan.
No, but they're only mid-card. I think they could be
upper mid-card.
But they could be. They're stars. They are stars.
It's hard to sell Zack Sabre Jr. to an American audience. If you could go on any message board and read people just saying, "Oh, he's just tiny, skinny, scrawny English bloke."
It's because Americans are just unnaturally big.
they are big.
Stop eating steroids in your burgers.
But yeah, this match is a perfect example of what I've been saying to you before, that people go overboard on Will Ospreay of how much he does just flips.
Yeah,
because he does not.
No, he's a very, very good wrestler.
He does not. He is the whole story of this match is that Ospreay can't beat Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
hasn't beat Sabre Jr. But this is Ospreay's bigger. He's put on some more muscle, and every time he tries something springboard flippy, Sabre just catches it.
And this match as well, because bear in mind I'm new to what company was this?
Rev Pro.
First time I'd ever seen Rev Pro. First time I'd ever seen these 2 guys compete. And the commentators in this match, this is what Michael Cole should learn. Put the story of them 2 over brilliantly.
They makes it feel like a worthwhile, an actual world title match.
Yeah,
This kind of is a world title because it's defended in New Japan.
What they did to me is made it feel more like a fight feel, because I like UFC, and then what the UFC do is great packages to indicate where these two guys have come from.
Yeah, the building helps with that because it's York Hall, a famous boxing venue. So
the crowd are well into this.
This match has been well built in Rev Pro.
But I do think that this match would have still been as good without a crowd. I don't think the crowd are hot for it, and it makes it good.
It definitely helps. But the actual match is outstanding. So, I mean, there isn't a single wrestler on the planet, not anybody, who can out-chain wrestle Zack Sabre Jr.
No.
The ability to move seamlessly from one move to another move, like submission holds, catch people with reversals out of absolutely nowhere. He's weird shaped, Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
he's really long limbs.
Yeah,
he's like 6'2", but he only weighs about 12.5 stone. But this match is a perfect example of wrestling.
Again, I think if we go back to when I was saying which wrestlers I would pick to build a company around, and I have my 5 and I stand by that. But then after watching this, I would want these two guys.
I would always want these two guys on my roster. They're excellent.
I think.
And Zack Sabre Jr. is a hilarious promo.
Is it?
Hilarious.
I've not heard his promo.
Yeah, it's mostly just ripping on the Tory party, to be honest with you.
That's always good.
Yeah.
But I think.
He blamed Brexit for losing in the G1.
There is an electric start to this match.
Got to start straight away.
It just kicks straight off, and they are going, and they go at a really solid pace for the whole.
I mean, this is like just over 25 minutes,
25, 30 minutes, isn't it? And they go at that electric. The pace doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's constant wrestling, constant chain wrestling. There's holds.
There's no Randy Orton in there.
No, there's holds, but there's no rest holds. It's always either the person in the move, which is normally Ospreay, or the person trying to get out of the move. Hold with the hold, always trying to move somewhere more advantageous, or always trying to move somewhere to get out, which is what wrestling should be.
Yeah, because that's what grappling is. When you grapple, you don't grapple and lie there. You try and move and you try and get out of it. It's why in a modern world now, with the rise of MMA and that, headlocks and chin locks don't work, because you wouldn't just sit in a chin lock.
No, you would not.
You'd move.
Yeah. But this is a perfect example of just why wrestling, proper wrestling, like old school wrestling, I suppose, for want of a better term. Ospreay does a lot of springboard moves occasionally, but he's very good at them. He is very, very good at them. But you don't need them necessarily.
I'm not averse to springboard moves. I'm not against them. And what I am against is just doing springboard moves.
Yeah,
I think there was a spot on an AEW show that got really rave reviews, and it was awful. It was a Canadian Destroyer spot, because that's a move that's the least protected move in wrestling.
Yeah. But there's also the stupidest move in wrestling.
They had it where guys were just waiting, and I hate that. And you could see that they were waiting.
Yeah.
And I think Jim Ross had a point where he said there's 7 guys outside the ring waiting to catch someone. That spot needs to stop now.
Yeah, it happens a lot in like war games matches and stuff like
that.
There's you had all of the people in the ring waiting for Io Shirai to put a bin on to jump off the cage.
And then you've also got. You see, they're trying to live up to the expectations of the last one and trying to do more. That's why these gimmick like war games need to be every 2 months or so.
You can definitely overdo it.
Without
and I mean, how many gimmick matches are actually on this top 10 list now that I think about it? There is a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, everything else is just a singles match or a tag match.
Yeah, because they're better now. Because
it's hard to do a really great ladder match or cell match or something, because there's been so many of them. I mean, ladder matches especially.
Yeah.
Really hard to do a good ladder match.
Because you've seen everything now.
Yeah, now they just descend into a lot of spots, which is great for Money in the Bank. It works for Money in the Bank. Not this year's Money in the Bank. That wasn't a match, was it really?
But no, ladder matches. I think AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn. That was the last good one, and that was. I mean, it was good, but a ladder match you expect more. But anyway,
that match would have been a lot better with the crowd.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
In this match, some of the moves that I really enjoyed. There's one where the Sabre Junior sort of traps his head, spins, and then goes into an STF.
Yeah.
Because he caught a kick and then just reversed it into an STF. There's what was it?
Like Sabre Junior can reverse anything into anything. He reminds me of Kurt Angle bit in that sort of.
Yeah.
Because you used to see Kurt Angle do a lot of that.
Counter after counter.
Counter after counter.
Especially when he went up against He Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah.
But yeah. This was just great. There was a guillotine move from Sabre which Ospreay reversed into a suplex, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Genuine strength there.
Yeah.
I know what spot you're on. Yeah, he reverses it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he holds him about halfway up when he's trying to.
Yeah.
When he's trying to think through it. Yeah.
Absolutely great. If I have my one little minor complaint, which I don't have in the number one position, but I have this one little minor complaint. There's a head kicks that they don't sell at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think that if someone kicks you in the head, it hurts.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you've been kicked in the head accidentally or on purpose at some point in your life.
I've got a big head, so it's a target.
So, I mean, yeah.
But apart from that, it's a stunning match. It's number 2 spot.
The best, for me, the best wrestling match this year. Like wrestling as the very basics of wrestling.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would love to see these. I mean, I watched. I was at Evolve 58 in Dallas on WrestleMania weekend, and I saw these two have a match that was basically nearly as good as this.
Yeah.
So I know they can do it anytime, anywhere. You can put these two in a ring, and they'll just put on a show.
Yeah, this is really good, and it's not like it's not like the Booker T Benoit Best of 7 series where it was just boring. Yeah. I could watch these do a best of 11 and best of 13.
Because of the way Sabre Junior works as well, there could be a match. Because he can reverse anything into anything. I think they are. They could do a match where Ospreay gets the main thing, so there's a lot more high flying in it.
I think
it could work a match in numerous places.
From watching this match, you can see that that they could work anyway.
Yeah,
and I think they could do something different every time. So yeah,
plus Ospreay's still a young man.
Well deserving of its number 2 spot.
Absolutely.
Finally, I bet you were all breathing a sigh of relief about that. And the match is Walter versus Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah. We had no arguments here.
None. Both of us put it number 1. The build even. It's 7 months in the waiting.
It's not even that. Which is awesome because he wins the. And they have no TV show for the entire time he holds it.
Still interesting.
But then they have a tag match. Well, I think it's Dragunov and Pete Dunne versus Alexander Wolf and Walter. He pins him. Well,
first person in since he's been in NXT UK.
That's an excellent tag match actually. If you want to get the full scope of things, watch that tag match before you watch this.
I think the way that people are presented is immense, and I genuinely think that there's some people who I think don't have bad matches and are good. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, they're good. I think Walter's above them. I do. I think the guy, even against Joe Coffey, is interesting.
Yeah.
There's something about Walter, even though his moveset is a slap, a powerbomb, a splash, and a rear naked choke.
He occasionally throws a leg kick or something in there. His move, it doesn't have the widest moveset.
He doesn't need it.
And there's very few people I enjoy watching more than Walter.
And he's also got, now the Undertaker's retired, the best entrance in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
His music is foreboding. The way that he just stands there is foreboding.
I think that's the best thing they did because that was his music on the Independents as well. So I'm glad they didn't change that when he was in the ring camp.
Yeah.
With Timothy Thatcher and
I do like
Bartel.
I do like his faction as well.
Imperium.
Yeah, they're good. Dragunov in this is kind of billed as the Unbreakable Man. He really is.
Unbesiegbar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always been billed that way. Ilya Dragunov has always been Ilya Dragunov.
He's insane. He's just mental.
I've seen this match 3 or 4 times.
Is this the best one?
Including WXW. They're all amazing, mate. There's a triple threat match on one of the shows.
Yeah.
As well, where Walter gets to pick the stipulation for the world title match.
Yeah.
And his stipulation is Dragunov's in it now.
There was with this match, if you're just looking at this from a fresh perspective and you've never seen Walter and you've never seen Dragunov, then you look at this and Dragunov is tiny. Walter is a ginormous human being. He's massive.
Dragunov sells being a mad person.
Yeah.
Super well though.
But then when they start, he just legs it at him.
The bell rings. It starts about 1 second later.
Yeah,
that's it. He is wailing on him immediately.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah, there is no messing about in this. From minute 1 to, I don't know, it's probably 20 minutes.
20, 25 minutes.
Yeah. I'm not really certain. It flies by. It absolutely flies by.
It does. It's a pleasure.
So it's the best TV match I've seen in quite some time.
Ever.
It's up there. It's certainly up there.
TV American match then.
Yeah, there are. I mean, this is British TV, kinda.
Yeah. I mean,
kinda.
It's on a nice little. You see, this is where NXT went wrong. When NXT became mainstream, which it is now,
it's on TV now.
So when it was hidden away on the network, it was amazing. The TV made sense. They could do what they wanted. They could play with characters. If they abandoned a character, it didn't matter. And now NXT UK has kind of taken that.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the best WWE show, WWE branded show.
That nobody watches.
And nobody watches.
Yeah. Frequently doesn't make the top 10 on the network for the week. I assume it did this week. The week that this was on.
If you do a match, if you put on a mainstream match nowadays in WWE or AEW or anywhere, and Jim Cornette says it's great, and Jim Cornette hates everything, absolutely everything about modern wrestling, he hates it. And if Jim Cornette likes it, then you can't be doing too much wrong.
So yeah, I mean,
he's grumpier than me, Cornette.
Yeah, I don't see a world where somebody doesn't watch this and think,
this is great.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Well, somebody who watches wrestling, even some people that don't watch wrestling, maybe can watch this because it's so stiff. Like
they're just Dragunov's chest and back. I do like the respite because you kind of get it where Walter is just smacking Dragunov, and even you start thinking, don't hit him again. So he starts hitting his back. It's like he's literally trying to chop the guy in half. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, Walter's chops.
Yeah, they hurt.
I mean, you saw Shiozaki's chops earlier.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest I can think of off the top of my head to how horrible a chop sounds when it hits.
This was the match I was talking about earlier. I think this match benefited from not having a crowd.
Maybe because you can hear so much of the moves that hit, like the chops and
the chops. It was to go back to UFC. What's made UFC good with no crowd is because you can hear the blows landing.
Yeah.
And this is what you could in this match. They weren't pulling anything, which is the only way, like we said earlier, to do it. Because Walter is so big and Dragunov is so small, the only way he can do it is if Dragunov comes in and just tries to kick the crap out of him.
Yeah, I mean, he hits him so hard.
That's unreal. I mean, Walter, to his credit, sells well.
I would say this is the stiffest match WWE has ever put on under its banner. Maybe not including maybe back in the day when it was WWF and everything was stiff, kind of.
Yeah, but
maybe there was...
And that's including in a list where someone got his jaw broke.
Yeah.
This is stiffer.
Yeah.
This looks like an actual fight. And
I mean, both people, like both of them, Walter and Dragunov, both of their chests, it looks like raw meat. Both of their chests are just smashed to bits, like hamburger patties.
I think, it's just, there is no bad bit about this match. Spot-wise, move-wise, just the power, there's a move on the outside, Walter does something to him on the outside, power bombs him on the apron, rolls him in, hits a splash. I think it was great and seamless and brilliant.
Walter is really good. He was last year. He was the year before.
I think when
he had the bait match last year.
When we started,
it was done last year when he took the title off. That was last year. So yeah, I mean, every time they give him an opportunity to shine, he does. So it's.
I think. I just think Walter is that kind of guy though, where I would say if I was Triple H or Vince McMahon, I'd write a check, I'd sign it, and I'd give it him and go, put your money in, just write what you want, and I would get him in because he could save. He could save it.
I don't think anything is saving Raw right now, but yeah. They could have put this match on Raw.
Yeah, definitely. Stunning match.
Best WWE match of the year. It would fit in absolutely anywhere in any company.
Yeah, go check it out.
I mean, if you've got the WWE network, why wouldn't you?
The only problem is if Walter went to the main roster, Vince McMahon would look at him and go, "Get down to PC with Keith Lee."
Oh yeah.
So there are 10 matches. I hope you check some of them out. They are definitely all worth it.
Absolutely.
We will be doing this again. We will be joining you again. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. For the next episode, we'll be previewing, and this is thanks to our Talking Cobblers About Wrestling group. Check us out on Facebook. But this is thanks to them, and they voted. They wanted the best matches of William Regal.
So making my life a nightmare.
Yeah, it isn't. It wasn't easy, but we've got some good ones for you. So thank you for listening. See you again next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.